Now, I am all in favor for some good trash talk and media presence because sometimes that's what makes fighters interesting. When they can talk charismatically on the mic, when they can antagonize their opponents and there's real beef behind it. All right, sometimes that's what makes fights fun. All right, but when I listen to these couple of individuals talk on the mic, whether it be in interviews, post-fight press conferences, or post-fight interviews in general, like, I just gotta say, shut up. You are actually so corny. Someone take the mic away from these guys because you guys are complete cornballs, and it's actually better for you guys to not talk on the mic. All right, so in this video, we're gonna focus on a couple of individuals where I feel like them talking to the media is actually hurting their brand because they are some of the most corny individuals you will ever listen to. All right, and I'm also going to be explaining why I think they're so corny and annoying to deal with. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. Now, first on our list, we got Bo Nickal, aka Bozo Nickal, according to Colby Covington. Now, let me just get this out of the way. I was thinking about including Colby Covington on this list as well. However, after watching the RAF press conference where Bozo Nickal and Colby Covington went back and forth, and also all the criticisms Colby Covington made about Bozo Nickal, as well as the damage control Bozo Nickal tried to put out there on the Ariel Helwani show. All I gotta say is, Bozo Nickal has somehow managed to out-cornball Colby Covington in the year of 2026. And what convinced me of that point was when Bozo Nickal's main argument against Colby Covington is the fact that Colby Covington's a fake Trump supporter, whereas Bozo Nickal's the real one here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna hit him up and tell him to make it happen because I think that guy's a fake. He's a phony. He always talks about supporting President Trump and this and that. He only does it to try to, antagonize other people. He doesn't do it because it's what he actually believes in.
Like, can we get a round of applause for Bozo Nickal for standing up for President Donald Trump here? Like, this guy really took it upon himself to try and paint himself as a true MAGA patriot in this economy in 2026. And the other thing about the RAF event, the guy was supposed to wrestle with Yoel Romero, who's 50 years old. And I understand that Yoel Romero was 7 pounds overweight. But this is Yoel Romero, who's 50 years old, and who's basically doing this for fun gimmick matchups in order to make some cash. Alright? This ain't a prime Yoel Romero. Or even a Yoel Romero who's like just about to leave the UFC. Alright? This is Yoel Romero, who should be in a retirement home at this point. And Bo Nickal refused to wrestle with Yoel Romero, who's 50 years of age. All right. And I understand that missing weight by 7 pounds is bad. But do you honestly think that Hamza Chimaev would duck Yoel Romero at the age of 50 years old just because Yoel Romero came in 7 pounds overweight? Right? Because that's the standard Bo Nickal has put himself. Because throughout his entire career, all this guy did was trash talk Hamza Chimaev, talking about Hamza Chimaev's wrestling is mid, and now that he would be the guy to beat Hamza Chimaev. He has all the answers and stuff like that. When in reality, he's fighting mid-tier level bums and going to very competitive fights with most of them, like Paul Craig and Cody Brundage. So, Bo Nickal, you gotta stop talking on the mic, alright? There is some sort of star potential in Bo Nickal, but if he continues to talk his mouth as if he is an actual superstar and not just an industry plant, Bozo Nickal will completely ruin his career because at the end of the day, most fans know Bozo Nickal as a complete and utter cornball. Now up next, we got Mr. Culon, aka Yair Rodriguez, because Yair Rodriguez over the last couple of years has been pretty corny, especially about Diego Lopez, because Diego Lopez is another featherweight who represents the flag of Mexico, and even though Lopez isn't directly from Mexico like Yair Rodriguez. Diego Lopez trains out of Mexico over the last 10 years or so, and he has made it a point that he is going to be a future Mexican champion. All right? Yair Rodriguez does not seem to agree with this because he believes that Mexican heritage is hereditary.
I have been living in the U.S. for over 10 years, almost 11 years. My girlfriend's American, I speak English, and not because of that I'm representing the American flag to gain followers from America. I love this country. I have said this in the past. You can go back and look at my interviews. I love this country because it gave me the opportunity to have a job, meet great people, have great friends here, but not because of that I'm going to say I'm American. I am not. I'm Mexican. I'm proud of it. You know? So whenever you ask me, yes, I have a problem with that.
And I gotta say, that is some of the corniest reasons as to why you would choose beef with Diego Lopez. Alright? And let's be real here. I don't think the fans care at all. I think the fans only care about the results, and the results speak for themselves. That you are not a nearly capable fighter like Diego Lopez. Because unlike yourself, Diego Lopez is A, winning fights, B, putting on fun fights, and C, actually staying active. To sit here and act as if anybody cares about the Mexican heritage and, oh, you're not a real Mexican. Bro, shut up. Like, if you had such a big problem with it, why did you not fight Diego Lopez for the Noche card, right? And instead make John Silva fight him instead? Because you had the perfect opportunity. You know, we had that crazy press conference at UFC 314. And in the rankings, it just made perfect sense considering you're coming off a win, but you're still within the top 5, and you're going to need more wins for a title shot. And Diego Lopez just came off a loss to Alexander Volkanovski. Like, it made perfect sense to make that fight, but because you're the great Yair Rodriguez and Diego Lopez doesn't deserve to fight you, like, that fight ultimately never happened. And at the end of the day, people are now realizing that you're nothing but a yapper because all you do is just sit on your ass and then demand undeserved title shots while fighting once a year against middle-aged men and then claiming that you are going to be the next title challenger just because you have some history with the former champion. So, Yair Rodriguez, get in the octagon, stop doing media tours, all right? Just fight somebody, all right? Just fight anybody at this point, all right? And if this fight happens with Diego Lopez, hypothetically, I'll be all on board for it. But until then, you are nothing but a cornball because you are not fighting Diego Lopez, even though you claim to hate him for representing Mexico. You are just sitting on the sidelines and just chatting shit like the rest of us on YouTube. Now up next, we got Mr. 4570 himself, Kevin Holland. I mean, just the 4570 line itself deserves a mention in this video, but Kevin Holland, if you really look at all of his interviews and press conferences, he is one of the most corny motherfuckers you can listen to on the UFC roster right now. Because the dude tries to act nonchalant during fights and press conferences as some sort of coping mechanism. Like, take, for example, the UFC 316 press conference where a reporter asks him, oh, what's his current relationship with Rampage Jackson following the whole 4570 beef?
All right, one other question. How is your current relationship with Rampage Jackson?
My current relationship with Rampage Jackson? Bro, Rampage Jackson's not in the UFC, is he?
No.
Get off his dick. Thank you.
So at the end of the day, Kevin Holland, he is just pure cringe incarnate. The only reason why the UFC promotes him the way they do is because he's relatively active, fair enough, but I'll be honest, all right, I'm starting to get sick of Kevin Holland, and if I start seeing less of Kevin Holland, like maybe like 3 or 2 times a year, I'll be very happy with that because every time Kevin Holland is on, it just feels like added on weight for no apparent reason in any sort of press conference or fight. Alright, now up next we got Ian Machado Garry. Now there's a lot of things that Ian Machado Garry has done that I would consider cringy and corny. Alright, but the one thing that really stood out to me was when he described his performance against Neil Magny to full violence.
Neil Magny's soul, here look, there's his soul. You watched that fight, right?
I did.
Yeah, he was playing. Carlos Prates played with my son. That's what he did in that fight. Neil Magny's never been the same since I took his soul. It's right there. He's in the bottom of my hand. Good job. You beat Neil Magny on the feet. You knocked him out quick. Good job. You did what you're supposed to do. You did what the UFC wanted you to do.
I don't know how to break it down to Ian Garry over here. You did not take Neil Magny's soul. Right, Shavkat Rakhmonov and Gilbert Burns literally did it before you by submitting Neil Magny. And then even after when you took Neil Magny to a decision, Carlos Prates, Michael Morales, and Yaroslav Amosov finished Neil Magny, which is something you could not do over the course of 15 minutes. And I understand that Ian Garry's a very good fighter, but he is so corny and unlikable. The only people that actually like him are these fat fucks like MMA Joey. And outside of that, I don't know how anybody can actually like him, considering every time he opens his mouth, he just ruins any sort of momentum he has made with his performances, which I will admit, they're pretty high level. But still, though, it don't change the fact that Ian Garry is one of the corniest fighters on the current roster right now. Last but not least, I got Michael Chandler. I mean, it's just a self-explanatory thing at this point because the guy is still calling out Conor McGregor in 2026. Even back when this was actually a serious topic, when Conor McGregor was filming The Ultimate Fighter, there were a lot of doubts as to whether or not you're going to actually fight McGregor. And now it's clear that you're just not going to do it because Conor McGregor, I don't think, has any interest in coming back into the UFC. And the other thing about Michael Chandler is that when he's not talking about Conor McGregor and glazing him secretly, all right, he's fighting other top contenders, and he's losing those fights every time. And whenever he gets the opportunity to talk on the mic after his loss, he just goes like, I lost the fight, but I did it for you guys, the fans. I slammed myself onto the mat with Charles Oliveira on my back, even though I had a chance to TKO him in the 5th round because I tried to put on an entertaining fight. And I didn't even list this last reason, but you guys know when Michael Chandler was actually relevant, the way he talked, he just talked like a motivational speaker 24/7, Mr. See you at the top. Like, Michael Chandler is just the corniest individual on the roster right now. I'm actually surprised as to how Michael Chandler even has fans. Like, sure, he has fun fights, but outside of that, there's nothing likable about him. He is a fake Christian, nice guy who just cheats in every single one of his fights and then copes after every single one of his fights as, I just try to make it entertaining for the fans. Because at the end of the day, Michael Chandler, not only is he low-key a bum at this point, he is one of the corniest motherfuckers on the UFC roster right now. Alright, that's gonna be it for this video. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please make sure to like and subscribe so we can monetize this channel. But otherwise, if you guys have any video suggestions for me in the comments down below, I'll make sure to try and read them and make a video about it in the future. But other than that, I will see you guys next time. Peace.